Hey, podcast listeners, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of What's Your Brand Story podcast. I have an amazing guest. She is a hoot. Love her. Her name is Wendy Nicole Anderson. She is a expert business strategist of all things automation systems and the whole 9 yards. Wanted to bring her on to just give some gems and talk about who she is and what she does, and she does it quite well. So thank you so much, Wendy, for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you, sis.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Absolutely. So can you tell the peoples who you are and what you do?
Well, so I'm Wendy Nicole Anderson. I peg myself as a business system strategist. I help clients, specifically small business owners and solopreneurs, that's in the service-based arena, create the business infrastructure needed to attract higher caliber clients, increase your client lifetime value, facilitate an efficient and white glove client experience. That's one form of way I could support you. I also teach service based entrepreneurs how to streamline and automate their business systems so they can escape burnout, work with the right clients, increase their profits, and save time.
Okay, y'all need to be jumping over there talking to Wendy like right now because that was a mouthful and a half. Like you help me do what now?
So I'll break it down for you. I
Mhm.
love I work in two modes. I'm either going to be a fixer or I'm going to bring whatever vision you have to life. So an example
Mhm.
would be I'm working with this new client. Well, she's been around for a long time and she hires me every few years because she has these new
Mhm.
ideas and she wants to reinvent herself. But I'm working with a new client. Her name is Kimberly, and Kimberly owns like a beauty brand. She wants to be able to help women of color basically be radiant in their skincare. She wants their skincare regimen to really give them the results that they want. That's what I can tell you in a nutshell. I'm probably saying that wrong, but that's in a gist. But she
Mhm.
got laid off of her corporate gig. She's had over 20 years of experience within that industry. But like with most clients, they have expertise. They know how to get you results. But a lot of clients don't know how to package up their expertise to take on clients. And so
Mhm.
clients come to me with their vision. They'll say,
Mhm.
this is how I want to show up in the world. Here's who I think my ideal client is. Here are the different ways that I think I want to be of service to these clients, whether it's consultations, whether they're running workshops, whether they want to secure corporate contracts. I mean, it could be a variety of things. A lot of
Mhm.
times my clients struggle with the pitch, they struggle with letting people know who they are and what they do. They struggle with having an infrastructure in place so that if I am interested in hiring you or acquiring your services or downloading your ebook, there's nothing in
Mhm.
place for them to take payment. There's nothing in place to manage the onboarding. There's nothing in place to manage the client experience, or they don't even know where to start with a client journey. And the client
Mhm.
journey is what needs to be in place to properly facilitate. So if my promise is I teach service-based entrepreneurs how to streamline and automate their business systems, then there needs to be a
Mhm.
framework that I'm going to follow, a recipe to ensure that you get what I promised
Right.
you. And so with Kimberly, she just had these ideas and she didn't really know how to make them tangible, so that she could show up. And what I was excited about, she's been going to like these network events the last couple of weeks, and she's met a lot of women that are in different spaces that are in the corporate arena that could benefit from her services. And now that I've built the back end of her infrastructure, she now can say, hey, I do have something in place that I can support your vision with. They can now hire her for specific services. She now knows how to pitch her offers, whether it be email, written pitch form, or she's at a networking event and speaking. And like she was like, Wendy, this was just an idea. I didn't know that it could look like anything. And yesterday I was like going over her website that her daughter is building for her with my guidance. I wrote all the copy, I gave the directives of how I needed to look aesthetically, because I feel like your website should be your own personal ATM. It needs
Mhm.
to be a storefront for people to purchase on demand. And it also needs to be a place where you can generate qualified leads. And then whoever is inquiring about your services, they can be nurtured until they're ready to buy from you or inquire in a more formal way about your business. And so when I talk about systems, a lot of people don't have the processes, the mechanisms, or the tech tools in place to manage the inquiry to the purchase, to the onboarding, to the facilitation of the actual service, to the offboarding when the service has been concluded, to also having other services in place to upsell the client
Mm-hmm.
or retain the client to um, increase their lifetime value. So I kind of do a lot of different things. I either consult, here's all the moving parts that you need to have in place for this to work, and I tell the client what to do, and
Mm-hmm.
I tell them and then I build it for them. So it just depends on the level of support that the client is looking for that I offer to them.
Mm. That's a lot, but it's also necessary and needed because sometimes, like you were saying about the next steps, because the next step of just like going from the discovery call to if they decide to like want to work with you and then they pay you, what the next steps is with that, like, what we're going to do from what we're not going to do and so on and so forth. That makes perfect sense because often people are just like confused, like, okay, so what do I do next? And then it's
Mhm.
crickets.
Mhm. Mhm. This
So
is
totally get
correct.
that.
Mhm.
Totally get it. So, what would you say is with your business? How has it transformed your life? Like, what has it done for you?
Um, like today, I blocked off my schedule. I
Mhm.
chose not to do anything. My realtor of 13 years took me to breakfast this morning. We had such a great time. And after breakfast, I just frolicked around in the city of Atlanta to just window shop and look at things I think I want to buy and daydream and spend time doing what I wanted to do. And I kind of had a
Mhm.
pick myself moment when I was driving down the freeway at 11 o'clock and there was no job for me to be at. Now I have client work
Exactly.
this evening, but um I come from a blue collar life where I'm from rural Arkansas. I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. I went to college and have a degree in everything. I didn't know what it was. And to be able to curate my schedule, to make infinite money, literally. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. Like the most Americans make per month on average, maybe anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 a month, if that.
Mhm.
To be able to say, I've made more than 20 grand a month multiple times
Mhm.
on my own with my skill set, because I'm a salesperson now, don't get it twisted.
Oh, I
Um,
know.
you know, that is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
For me to be a single mom, to have already taken my children to Italy, to the Bahamas, to Mexico, um, Puerto Rico. Where else have I taken them out the country? Several
Mm.
places.
I think I've seen
That's
Greece. Was it
I
Greece? Did you
haven't
take them to
been to
Greece?
that. I went to took them to Spain, New York. Of course,
Mhm.
the places in the US, but I love that every day that I get to work with different people of all walks of life. I love that I get to learn a little bit about everything. I didn't realize until recently that I really had the privilege to work with some true powerhouses. Like these women, a few of my clients have multiple childcare facilities, like more than
Mhm.
5. So they're moguls. I have client that's building out a new behavioral management facility here in Atlanta. It's the first here in Atlanta for her. She has 4 other locations in California. Um, like true, not like, oh, people who are selling some type of damn scam, but women who are truly making a change in life are coming to me and
Right.
saying, hey, I need help with blah blah blah. So it's just kind of, it's been mind blowing I like the flexibility. I love the fact that I get to learn so much. I love the fact that I get to rub elbows with people that are making money that I have yet to make myself. It's kind of, they pay me to help them, but it's kind of like free mentorship on
Mm-hmm.
steroids. Pretty cool. Um, but it's the freedom that I feel. Like I worked until 3 o'clock last night, and then probably 4 o'clock last night, and then I went to
Mm-hmm.
bed, and I'm able to get up and cook breakfast in the morning for the children and take them to school, and I'm here to pick them up from school, and when they're out of school for God knows what, because they're always out of school, I don't have to worry about childcare
Childcare.
and figure it
Mm-hmm.
out, because I can build my schedule around my children, which was
Mm-hmm.
important to me as a parent. So I guess the real answer to this is, this season, the last 10 years has taught me that I got what it takes.
Mm.
That I can do anything I put my mind to, that there is no reward without risk. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
conversation I came with this morning with the realtor. She was like, Wendy, I've really watched you grow. Because when I bought this house, I still had a corporate job.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my biggest fears were, if I become a homeowner, what if I lose my job? Girl, I lost that job. I got laid off. I actually started building this business while I was laid off. I had formed my LLC before they laid me off. I got pregnant while I was laid off. And what really triggered me was, I was on unemployment, and I
Mm-hmm.
went down there to the office, and I was asking for some food stamps and WIC. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have any income coming in because my business wasn't yet producing a revenue, and they denied me food stamps.
Mm-mm.
Not really sure. And it was in that moment I was like, I will never be in a situation where I have to rely on someone else so that can provide for myself and my children. And I have just been on Operation Get Shit Done since then. I trademarked that as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Good. I'm
So
glad.
yeah, so I'm kind of just in awe. A lot of days I just pinch myself, and I'm like, Atlanta was my dream city. I'm from a rural place in Arkansas, and I always wanted to live here. And I was like, I don't want to move here until I can like support myself. And everything has come from a whiteboard vision board. I write out
Mm-hmm.
the audacious goals. I'm not sure when I initially write them out how the hell I'm going to manifest such a
Mm-hmm.
thing. And every single thing I write on that board has come true for the past 20 years. And so I have a new goal on the board. It's crazy. Not
Mm-hmm.
sure how I would manifest that, but I just put it out there, and God is going to do it for me. So, yeah.
Exactly. That's
Mhm.
the next question I was going to ask you about your belief system in yourself and your belief system in, God. Like, what is that like for you, and how have you experienced that personally as well as professionally?
I was raised Southern Baptist Christian. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily identify with it, so I don't identify with it now. I don't have I don't have a organized religion that I associate with. Um,
Same here.
I'm
You're in
not,
good company.
yeah, I'm not atheist, which the older I get, I have no problem with atheists. I was raised to dislike them because
Mm-hmm.
people told me they were pure and evil. That's not true.
Right.
I do believe there is a God. I don't believe in God the way that it has been forced down my throat. I'm not even sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what the hell I believe in. I believe that there is something
Mm-hmm.
that is helping me curate my life. There is
Mm-hmm.
something that guides me and protects me. There is something that sends assignments to me. There is something that sends me on assignments. Um, it is something that I feel like I can confide in, that I can depend on, even though I can't see or hear. But
Right.
every time I come into a clutch, it's like whatever it is that's governing me, it shows up as a safety net right before I hit the
Yeah.
ground. I tend to just
Absolutely.
jump off the cliff, and I'm like, all right, God, do what you
Mm-hmm.
do. And
Put
somehow
some
those
wings
wings
on me.
Yeah, the wings come out, and I'm like, I knew you had me. I almost hit the cement, but you came in right before I,
Like
slattered my
2 minutes
black
before.
right, slather my black ass on the concrete. But for me, my governing body is do unto others as I want them done unto me. I like to keep
Absolutely.
my word. I like to be a good steward over what I've been given or assigned, my home, my lifestyle, my career, my children, my health. So I'm still figuring that out. I lean towards just being spiritual.
Same.
Hmm.
I understand that completely. What do you think sets you apart from everyone else that does what you do? What is that like value that you bring that's so powerful and so authentic?
I didn't want to say this out loud, but since you asked me, I'll just tell y'all. Um, I'm a seer. I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm I don't know if I don't like the word. Not that anything's wrong with it, but I joke around sometimes with some of my clients because they freak out a lot. I'm kind of like a business psychic. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how I know the information that I know. It's several times I'm in meetings with clients and we're having a talk and I'll get these downloads and I'm like saying whatever I need to say to solidify their vision and they tend to freak out a lot and they'll
Mm-hmm.
stop what they're doing and I'm like, what are you doing? And they'll go type on their social media trying to find some evidence and they were like, I never told anybody any of that. How the hell do you know all this stuff? I don't know, girl. It just came to me, and this is what Spirit said we're doing for you in this business, and this is how we're gonna shoestring this together. That's one. But my zone of genius is I understand people better than they understand themselves. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, a client can come to me and really struggle with articulating their vision. They
Mm-hmm.
can say a couple of words to me, and I'll automatically be like, so what you're trying to say to me is da 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 da. They're like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, I've been struggling to communicate this shit for a while. Like I had a meeting the other day. This client has multiple government contracts. She makes six figures, seven figures. She hates that work, and so but she's coming to me for a passion project. And we
Mm-hmm.
were having a conversation, and I could see that she was visibly getting flustered. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
hold on, let me hear you out, let me walk through what I think you're trying to communicate to me. And she said verbatim, I have it recorded. She said, I have tried to communicate this shit to people for the past 5 years. She was like,
Mm-hmm.
everyone else I talked to convolutes the shit. She was like, you literally got it in nano 10 seconds. And I was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
baby, I got you. And I was able to get on Otter, voice note myself, give it some instructions, go back to her with a list. And I'm like, here's everything in chronological order that we have to do to bring this to life. She didn't even hesitate. She went paid. She
Mm-hmm.
was like, you're
Mm-hmm.
hired. When can I start? Let's get it. But I understand people better than they understand themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my clients are very successful financially. Sometimes they struggle with their confidence. I'm really good about reassuring them in a way that's not condescending. I'm really good about reassuring them in a way. And I know I talk about business strategists, I talk about systems, but if I'm not able to make sure the client is confident and
Mm-hmm.
have clarity in how they want to show up in the world and how they want to execute their vision, then they're going to keep spiraling. And I'm really great at asking them the right questions so that they can
Mm-hmm.
focus on the things that are going to move the needle, that is going to empower them to show up in a way that's authentic to them. A lot of times when people go to a consultant or a coach, they have a vision, and
Mm-hmm.
that consultant or coach tries to put the client into a box. And it's like, because people did that shit to me and I hated it. Well,
Mm-hmm.
just do this exactly the way that I did it, Wendy, and you'll get the results. That doesn't work. I
Exactly.
have a framework that a client can follow to find her magic, her own magic. And I have a way of pulling things out of a client so that they can show up and work within their genius and within their strengths without having to shed parts of them that other people are trying to make them bury.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why would she tell you not to leverage that or focus on that? That's your wheelhouse. Let me show you how to leverage your gifts.
Mhm.
So I listen, I meet the client where they are, I bring them up to where they want to be.
Mhm.
Um, if they're unfocused, hey, I understand you're telling me all of these things. I don't coddle them.
Mhm.
However, you're only going to do this because this thing is what's going to get you what you want. All that other shit you're talking to me about, I mean, I could help you flesh through all of that and I can charge you a shit ton of money and basically waste your damn time. Or we can focus on this that I know that's a viable opportunity for you. And when done right, it will be lucrative.
Mhm.
Let's get you done in record time, put you back out there. You're making money. I don't look for clients to be with me for a lifetime
Mhm.
because if I'm really doing my job based on my body of work, they should get what they need the first time around. The only reason why people come to me on repeat is because they're launching new endeavors,
Mhm.
not they're coming to me to fix what we put in place 6 months ago, 3 years ago. So
Mhm.
that's the difference. I don't nickel and dime people. I meet them where they are. I'm able to clarify what they're trying to communicate with me and the masses almost immediately. I don't coddle them, but I can also recognize when they're struggling with a thing and they feel comfortable enough with me to be vulnerable and say, hey, I normally don't communicate or share or let my guard down in this way, but when do you make me feel safe? I'm just going to go
Mhm.
ahead and tell you the thing so that I get what I want. And they
Mhm.
typically are openly excited from the time of the inquiry to when they make the investment. They're excited to pay me to the
Mhm.
actual process, client experience they go through to the offboarding. A lot of these clients consistently send me referrals, and
Mhm.
that's the best compliment a service provider can get.
Absolutely, because you know that you're doing your job for them to trust you to say to other people, okay, I highly recommend this person and you need to go speak to them or whatever the case may be. So, yep, you're absolutely right about that for sure.
Mhm.
So, I guess we can skip that question because you answered it already.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
It's all good. So, what would you say to a business owner that's just starting out in business? Like, what would be your advice to give them?
Create a create a product or service based on an experience that you have. I know the last time we talked,
Mm-hmm.
because you were asking me about my brand story,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like, how did I get here? Um, this is effortlessly and easy for me because it's was created out of pure frustration for me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came into the entrepreneurial world, I initially thought I want to be a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
And how I process information has always been different than most people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to my father, who's now deceased, and I told him I wanted to do all of these things, and he was um, like, getting ready to pass, or he had passed. I can't remember which one came first. And I was like, I have all these goals. I said I'm going to do all these things. I need to start figuring out a way to start the execution process.
Mm-hmm.
And I was Googling. I didn't like any of the coaches for coaching certification. So I had been reading the Valerie Burton's books.
Mm-hmm.
And something in me was like, find her, see if she
Mm-hmm.
has a coaching program. Lo and behold, I found her. And the coaching experience was great, but it did not prepare me to truly monetize what she had taught me. So
Mm-hmm.
then at that time in life, I was on Twitter, now called X, and I had
Mm-hmm.
found Stacia Pierce. Stacia Pierce was on tour to come to Atlanta. And the pitch for this one day event was enticing and the investment was affordable because it was $97 for a day. I remember going, and it was such a pitch fest. She had over 300 to 500 women in this room.
Mm.
I thought that was really impressive at $100. And throughout the whole day, she pitched multiple different coaching programs, anywhere from $99 to 197 to 500, all the way up to a 30 plus $1,000 coaching package.
Mhm.
And I thought, she's the one I want to go to. Fast forward, I hired her. I didn't care for the experience. I admire her
Mhm.
and I'm not bashing her. But for the $5,000 investment that I put down to be in that coaching container, I was in there with a lot of people. Um, for $5,000, I was still new. That was a lot of
Mhm.
money for me.
Mhm.
At that time, and it still is today. And
Mhm.
I was pissed off. I was like, I was expecting a different type of client experience for that investment. I went on, no, don't know why I did, and I did a VIP day for $2,500 on top of that. Flew to Orlando, flight, hotel, all of the nine. That
Mhm.
experience was definitely underwhelming for me.
Mhm.
After that, I I needed more support because I was stressed out, pregnant with my second child. Had a $12,000 investment after there. Just I don't know, lost my
Woof.
mind. So, long story short, neither one of those experiences with her was worth it. It's just like a toxic baby daddy type of situation. I don't know. So, I was like, you know what? I need to change the game. So, I started changing, putting into my business what I felt like that I wish that I would have gotten from her and other service providers. I
Mhm.
had no intentions on ever being a business system strategist. I just was going to do my life coaching thing. Well, when people
Mhm.
started booking me for my coaching, they were like, this is so professional and polished. I like how you do A, B, and C. They're like, who built all of this for you? And I
Mhm.
was like, I did. They
Mhm.
were like, "Are you joking?" Like, I'm not joking. I taught myself. I found people. I paid them money. I asked them to teach me specific things because I wanted to develop a specific skill set that I can string together to produce what you just experienced. And the
Mhm.
women started saying to me, "Hey, if I pay you, will you build me something similar?"
Mhm.
So, my what now feels like a gift that's natural to me, it's what makes me the most money. It never feels like work. I'm excited about it. There's a lot of people that can't do what I do because they're thinking about just simply tech, but I'm strategy, I'm intuitive, you know,
Mhm.
I'm a lot of different moving parts for the client. They kind of get a lot of things out of me. So I would say if you're new, don't go start that business because you've seen Sally Sue do it and you saw her make a shit ton of money. That may only she may like I'm desperately trying to figure out TikTok right now. It's just
Mhm.
awkward to me, and I'm gonna get over my nerves here soon because I want some of that TikTok money. But I have a mutual and a ex client now friend. She does excellent on there. She's an affiliate marketer from December of last year up until last month. She's done over $212,000 just
Mm.
promoting other people's products. She's a pretty
Mhm.
woman. She knows how to get capture your attention. I'm in my head too much to really create infomercials like that. But
I
my
got
point of
you.
saying that is I'm not saying that everyone can't be successful. You can, but you can be wildly successful if you do what makes sense and works for you. Just
Mhm.
because you make waist beads effortlessly doesn't mean that I need to start making waist beads tomorrow. Just because
Right.
Lorraine is averaging anywhere from $500 to $3,000 a day on TikTok doesn't mean that I'm gonna have the same level of success. So I'm saying find a problem that you can solve that's natural to your skill set and strengths. Because if you are having a hard time articulating who you are, what you do, who you serve, how and why, you're going to struggle. If you're trying to mimic someone else's success so that you can have it for your own, you're not gonna, it's gonna be
Yeah.
a downhill battle, baby girl. So don't do that. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying trust your intuition, and it doesn't matter how crazy the ideal sounds. There's once you pitch it and someone buys, that validates your idea. Because if you really look at the scheme of the business world, people are
Mm-hmm.
monetizing everything and anything.
Yes, yeah, right.
But
Absolutely. Even like dogs on TikTok.
yeah, but it's gotta make sense to you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Sounds good.
Hmm.
I hope everybody's listening to that and took down notes because that was a lot of information right there. So can you tell everyone where they could find you, connect with you, work with you, or even, schedule you
Yeah,
for their
so
podcast?
guys, I'm over at wendynicoleanderson.com. You're always welcome to book a complimentary consultation. I spend a lot of my time on Facebook. I have a free Facebook group called Rebel Queen. You can find me on TikTok. My handle is I am Wendy Nicole
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. WENDYNICOLE. But
Mm-hmm.
that is the best way you can stay connected with me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you and wealth of information as always. And guys, she actually gives so much information on Facebook. It is ridiculous. So if you ever would just want to peek on her Facebook and see what she's doing, she's funny as hell, but she speaks truth and she gives strategies and tips on Facebook on what you should do from what you shouldn't do. So definitely make sure that you follow her. She's good people. So thank you
Uh,
again for tuning into another episode of What's Your Brand Story podcast. This is your host, Stills Victoria. Till next time, talk to you guys later. Bye.